have some criteria that we're looking at. We've got a lot of companies that we're trying to pick the right place because I don't want to go do this over and over and over again. We'd like to just do it once and be done and go and enjoy the fruits of our labor. So we asked him, we said, are you guys publicly traded? And he says, yes, we are. And I'm like, good, that's a plus, because not a lot of network marketing companies are publicly traded. But he said, yes, we're publicly traded. And then we asked him the next question. We said, well, how old is your company? He said, well, we're a little over 5 years old. And I'm like, strike one. He's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, Dave, we got a group of individuals that have now been in the network marketing arena for quite a while. We got a whole bunch of employees that work for a whole bunch of other companies, and none of us have ever heard of you. We've never heard of you, nor your company. And you've been around for 5 years. I said, to me, there's one of two things. Either your product is no good, or it's too late for us to get involved in. And he says, can I explain? I'm like, well, yeah, that's why we're here, and I was just being courteous. But again, I wanted to get through all the, any fluff and stuff, so we said, okay, explain. He says, well, he had been hired by LifeVantage just, about a year or so prior to us meeting. And we asked him, well, why did they hire you? He says, I used to run a little company called Metabolite. Have you ever heard of that? I'm like, yeah. He says, I used to be the CEO of that company. He says, I took that company from about $10 million a month in sales to $10 million a year in sales to $500 million in sales. He says, I'm a corporate lawyer by trade, and LifeVantage has hired me to do something similar with them. And he says, at this time, he says, when they LifeVantage, he says, at the time, they've been retailing their product over here at places like GNC, these nutritional stores. And they've been, not doing real well with the sales in their product. At the time, they were averaging a quarter of a bottle of product sold a month in each store. Okay? And a lot of people say, well, how comes that? Well, I have to blame it on the 17-year-old girl who's standing behind the counter. She just thought it was another vitamin. Okay? He says, when he came to LifeVantage, his suggestion to the board of directors was, we need to get rid of this, and we need to come over here and become a multi-level marketing company. Okay? Now, put yourself in the shoes of the shareholders. They've invested millions of dollars into LifeVantage at this point, and their new CEO is saying, we're going to completely shift gears, and we're going to become a multi-level marketing company. That was not received very well at first. But Dave Brown was the expert. They had hired him to come in. They said, basically, we're going to give you one shot at this, and if it doesn't work, you're out of here. And so my next question to him was, I said, well, how long has this been around, Dave? He said, 2 weeks. I'm like, huh. Well, so then I thought, well, if you've had a business out there, you've had it going for 5 years, and it's in a national chain, you have to have all this exposure. You've probably attracted a lot of your customers to now be distributors in your new business venture. So how many people are involved in this thing? He goes, oh, we only have about 200. Okay? Now, that right there immediately got my attention, and I'll tell you why. As a business owner, I've learned that in the first 2 to 5 years when most businesses fail, okay, all of a sudden we had a very unique situation. A company that was 5 years old, it had made it past that, is it going to happen or not deal, but it was only 2 weeks old. And there was only 200 people that I had to compete against. Okay? All of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm listening, let's talk, let's go some more. So our next question to Dave was, tell us about this product that your company has. And before he really started talking about the product, he started about this guy named Dr. Joe McCord. And just got all excited about Dr. McCord. And if you've ever been to a presentation like this and they've had any health and wellness product, every company has a smart guy. But have you noticed that? Okay? And he starts talking about Dr. McCord. He says, yeah, he's been nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine, multiple times. He's been featured on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. He's been featured on ABC Primetime. He's been featured he's been given an award called the Elliott Crescent Award. And that award has only been given to less than 300 people worldwide, and it's given to scientists who make or invent something that impacts the entire world. And other recipients are like Orville Wright and Henry Ford and Madame Curie and now this Dr. McCord. So I was like, okay, at least he's a smart guy like all these other companies. And I said, well, what did he do? Why is he so famous? What's all the excitement about? He said, when Dr. McCord was at Duke University, back in the late 60s. He was an associate professor there. And they were studying the human cell. Okay, now this is my high school rendition of the human cell. Okay, there's the nucleus, the center, right? And at the time, they were studying these little things called free radicals that were inside the cell. Science actually didn't know if the free radicals were good or bad or what they did. And so Dr. McCord, with a lot of other scientists, were trying to figure that out. Now, free radicals are caused by the food that we eat and the air that we breathe. They actually bounce around inside the cell. They cause damage to the cell and damage to the DNA. While Dr. McCord was trying to figure all that out with a bunch of other people, he happened to discover a little enzyme called superoxide dismutase, or SOD. Okay? This discovery was huge. What it is, they were watching this little enzyme was going around inside the cell, and it would eat up 1 million free radicals per second, every second. And every cell had that in there. It was our body's natural defense system to get rid of free radicals. Okay? But the downside was they found that, okay, when you're born over here at age 0, and as you age, your body produces this enzyme along with some others up until about the age of 20 years old. When you turn 20 years old or thereabouts, the production of this enzyme begins to drop off. By the time you're around the ages of 40 to say 65 years old, this little enzyme is not very prevalent through your body. A lot of the cells don't have it. Okay? So what starts to happen is there's more and more free radicals build up, and it leads to a problem called oxidative stress. Okay? And that was a new term to me. But oxidative stress, everybody has it. Okay? Nobody's immune to it. Okay? And it was a bad thing. So Dr. McCord, for years, he was actually trying to invent a synthetic version of this little enzyme to replace what nature used to do. And during that time frame, science discovers these things called antioxidants. You guys heard of those? Okay, if not, you need to get out a little bit more. Okay? You notice every product out there today is talking they're an antioxidant. Okay, you find them in things like juices and fruits and vegetables, and vitamins, hairspray, shoe polish. I mean, just everybody's or an antioxidant. You know, and here's the amazing thing is these things get rid of free radicals. But here's what the marketing companies haven't been telling you and I, and that is the rest of the story, or the real truth is that antioxidants don't work real good. Okay? They only get rid of one antioxidant molecule, will only kill one free radical at a time. And people say, well, mine's super concentrated, or mine's from the other part of the world, it's a super food, and it's like all this doesn't matter. They all work exactly the same. That's why most doctors and scientists don't get real excited about the vitamins that you're taking, especially when people are talking about them being an antioxidant. Okay? Vitamins and minerals, and those things are good for you. Fruits and vegetables are good for you. Okay? But an antioxidant is just a byproduct of what they do. That's not their primary purpose. Okay? And like I said, people are like, well, mine's super concentrated. Well, let's look at this. How many free radicals do you actually got in your body? Okay? If you take the number 3 and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. That's how many free radicals you've got in your body when you wake up in the morning. Okay? Now, if you're eating poorly or you go exercise a lot because you're burning more fuel, you're going to add to that number. Okay? There's not enough juices and fruits and vitamins in a day that you could take to have any impact on that. That would be no different than this, hotel's on fire and you run up to it with a little cup of water and you throw it on there. Sure, you put out some water, but you know what? The hotel still burned down. Okay? And so that's where science was at for a long time. Dr. McCord's trying to invent a synthetic version of this because it was so important. And then Dr. McCord has a guy that's in his office, and good associate of his says, Dr. McCord, rather than trying to invent and make one, what if we could just tell the body to make more of it? Dr. McCord's like, that's a novel idea. Let's see if we can work with that. And so what they did is they actually got a list of antioxidants, narrowed it down to about 40 of them, and then they started mixing and matching and, making up different formulations. Well, they struck upon a formulation of 5 ingredients that when they were put together in a specific formulation and then introduced into any mammal, something happened. Within 24 hours, every cell was now producing that enzyme again.